Hello kids, how are you all? Today we are going to discuss chapter light and shade. Let's form it. Categorize the transparent, translucent and opaque materials in the table from the list given below. You have to categorize a substance like glass window, wooden door. So wooden door is opaque because no light passes through the wooden door. That's how you have to categorize these things. You can do it by yourself. You have to categorize these materials on the basis light passes through them or not. Okay students, you can do it by yourself. Now let's know about. Here is what is light, sources of light, light travels in a straight line, how do we see things, transparent, translucent and opaque objects, shadow, formation of day and night, eclipses. So these are some topics we are discussing in this chapter. Here is what is light. Have you ever imagined what it would be like if there was no light in this world? You can get this feeling if you enter a completely dark room and be there for some time. Suddenly, if you switch on the lights, you are able to make out everything that is present in the room. This light is a form of energy that helps us to see the world. Light comes from various objects that help us to see. These are called the sources of light. सो स्टूडेंट लाइट क्या एक फॉर्म ऑफ एनर्जी है जो हमें किसी भी चीज को या वर्ल्ड को देखने में हेल्प करती है और जिस जिस सोर्स से हमें लाइट मिलती है दैट इज सोर्स ऑफ लाइट. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, नाउ वी हैव, डू यू नो, about 200 years ago, though people were very aware of light and dark, they worked during the day when the sun was shining. As the sun went down, they used candles or oil lamps to see. However, these lights were dim outside. There were no street lights like present day. The only light available came from the moon and stars. Night was very, very dark. People usually went to bed when the sun went down and woke up early. So students, जो बहुत सालों पहले क्या होता था कि लोग हमारे सन के अकॉर्डिंग काम करते थे. जब सन जो है आता था तो लोग अपना काम करते थे और जैसे जैसे सूरज ढलता था लोग अपने घरों में चले जाते थे, ऑयल लैंप या कुछ भी ऐसी चीजों का यूज करते थे रोशनी के लिए. लेकिन ज्यादातर लोग क्या होता था, जैसे सूरज ढलता था सब सो जाते थे और सुबह जल्दी उठते थे और कोई स्ट्रीट लाइट्स भी नहीं होती थी उस टाइम पे. नाउ वी हैव सोर्सेज ऑफ लाइट. Light can be obtained from different sources. Some of them are natural sources, whereas others are artificial sources. Natural sources of light are natural objects that emit light. Examples of natural sources of light are the sun, stars, fire, and electricity produced during storm. So, student, source of light जो light को produce करते हैं वो दो टाइप के होते हैं, नेचुरल और आर्टिफिशियल. नेचुरल हमारे पास सन, स्टार, फायर और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस ड्यूरिंग स्टॉर्म. Now we have some pictures. Look here, sun, stars, moon, lightning. On the other hand, artificial sources of light are the ones that are created by humans and they emit light. For example, LED bulbs, candles, torchlight, televisions, neon lights, table lights at homes, etc. So these are man-made or artificial sources of light. Look here, bulb, torch, candle, neon lights. Here, do you know, many living creatures such as plants and animals have the magical ability to emit their own light, a phenomena known as bioluminescence. Although bioluminescence is seen mostly among marine animals, a few land creatures also produce light, mostly insects and fungi. Bioluminescence requires three ingredients: a molecule called luciferin, oxygen, and enzyme. Luciferase to speed up the reaction. When oxygen combines with luciferin, the reaction produces light. Some examples of organisms that produce light are glowing mushrooms, alarm jellyfish, crystal jelly, glowworm, fireflies, radiant railboard worms, etc. So, students, ये कुछ animals हैं या living creatures हैं जो खुद की light जो है प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. ठीक है, ये किस प्रोसेस से करते हैं? बायोल्यूमिनेसेंस एक प्रोसेस होता है, उसके थ्रू इनकी ये खुद की लाइट जो है प्रोड्यूस करते हैं. यू कैन लुक हियर, दीज आर द पिक्चर ऑफ दीज ऑर्गेनिजम्स. नाउ वी हैव लाइट ट्रेवल्स इन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. Sometimes we all must have noticed that in our house, whenever a beam of light enters a dark room through a tiny hole in the window, The light waves always travel in a straight line. This can be clearly observed in an atmosphere which is dusty. Also, the beam emerging from a torch always appear to be in a straight line. The tendency of light to travel in a straight line is called rectilinear propagation of light. So student, आप सबको पता है कि लाइट जब वो स्ट्रेट लाइन में ट्रेवल करती है, क्यों? ये आप ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं अपने घर में भी, कोई डार्क रूम हो और जब उसकी विंडो से लाइट जो है एंटर करती है तो आपको दिखाई देगा कि स्ट्रेट बीम होती है. सो दैट्स हाउ यू कैन जज द लाइट कैन ट्रेवल इन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन, और इस टेंडेंसी को हम रेक्टिलिनियर प्रोपगेशन ऑफ लाइट बोलते हैं. नाउ वी हैव एन एक्टिविटी टू शो रेक्टिलिनियर प्रोपगेशन ऑफ द लाइट. Let us carry out a small activity so that light wave travels along a straight line. Take 3 CDs and align them together. Align them in such a way that all CDs lie in a straight line. Now take a candle and place it at the other end. Do make sure that the tip of the candle and the holes of the CDs all lie in the straight line. Ensure that height of the CDs and the tip of the candle are same. Observe this flame of candle. We are able to see the flame of the candle because the light wave travels through the holes and reaches our eye. Now, if we displace the center of the CDs, we observe that we are not able to see the flame of the candle. Why does that happen? This is because the light gets blocked. If the light could have the ability to take a curve and travel, we could have seen the light wave. But since light travel in a straight line, we were unable to see the flame of candle when the CD is displaced. This proves that light travels along a straight line. Look here, look at this picture. This picture shows the experiment. So what you have to do, आपने क्या करना है, 3 CDs लेनी है, उनको एक प्रॉपर अरेंजमेंट में अरेंज करना है कि जो उनके होल्स हैं वो सेम लाइन में लाए करें, और एक कैंडल लेनी है जो उसकी टिप है वो भी जो आपकी होल्स हैं उनकी हाइट के सेम हो. तो जब आप कैंडल को ब्लो करेंगे तो आप उसके फ्लेम को देख सकते हैं. बट अगर आप अपनी सीरीज को डिस्प्लेस कर देंगे तो आपको फ्लेम दिखाई नहीं देगा. क्यों नहीं देगा? बिकॉज लाइट ट्रेवल इन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. नाउ हाउ डू वी सी थिंग्स? वी नो दैट लाइट रेज प्रोपोगेट इन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन. When any object comes in the path of propagation, it bends or reflects back after striking the object. This reflected ray comes to our eye and we see the objects around us. तो स्टूडेंट, हमारी लाइट जब स्ट्रेट लाइन में ट्रेवल करती है और वो किसी ऑब्जेक्ट पे आकर हिट होती है या उसकी पाथ में कोई ऑब्जेक्ट आती है तो वो उस पर रिफ्लेक्ट बैक होती है, और वो जो रिफ्लेक्टिंग बैक आपकी रेज होती वो हमारी आईज में आती है और इसलिए हम ऑब्जेक्ट्स को देख पाते हैं. Different materials allows different amount of light to pass through them. When we see through clear water or glass, we can see through them but not through a wooden block or a brick wall. This is so because wood and brick wall do not allow light to pass through them at all, whereas water and glass allow light to pass through them. So हर एक मटेरियल की अपनी एक क्वालिटी होती है कि वो लाइट को कितना पास कराते हैं और कितना नहीं. Okay, now we have materials that allow light to pass through them completely are called transparent materials. Examples: glass, water, cellophane paper, etc. Materials that allow light to pass through them partially are called translucent materials. Example: butter paper, frosted glass, etc. Now we have materials that does not allow light to pass through them at all are called opaque materials. Example: a wooden block, a book, etc. Look here, here are some pictures. Transparent object, translucent object, opaque object. Now we have check and mate. You can do it by yourself as we already read about these things. Here, shadow. Light a torch and let the beam fall on a wall. Now bring an opaque object like your hand in between the torch and the wall. What do you see? The shadow of your hand falls on the wall. Your hand being opaque blocks the light from the torch from falling on the wall. The shadow of your hand is obtained on the wall. Now, if you switch off the torch, you can see that there is no shadow. We have learned that lights travel in a straight line and opaque objects block the light falling on it. Thus, an area of darkness is created on the side of the object away from the source of light. The area of darkness formed by an opaque object when light is obstructed by it is called a shadow. For a shadow to form, the following 3 things are required: a source of light, an opaque object, a screen or surface where shadow can be obtained. So स्टूडेंट क्या होता है जब आपकी लाइट आप सपोज आप टॉर्च से लाइट को फोल्ड करा रहे हैं वॉल पे, वो नॉर्मली फोल्ड होगी, लेकिन अगर आप उसके बीच में अपने हैंड को लेकर आएंगे तो आपको शेडो दिखाई देगी अपने हैंड की। क्यों? क्योंकि आपका हैंड ओपेक ऑब्जेक्ट है, उससे लाइट पास थ्रू नहीं होगी, उससे लाइट पास नहीं होगी। सो क्या फॉर्म करेगा? वो एरिया ऑफ डार्कनेस फॉर्म करता है, और वो जो एरिया ऑफ डार्कनेस होता है दैट इज शेडो। और किसी भी शेडो के फॉर्मेशन के लिए हमें 3 थिंग्स चाहिए होती है, दैट इज सोर्स ऑफ लाइट, an opaque object, screen or surface where shadow can be obtained. Now, do you know? A long time ago, people observed the way shadows were formed by the sun and utilized this principle in making the world's most primitive clocks, the sundials. Second, sunlight reaches Earth's atmosphere and is scattered in all directions by all the gases and particles in the air. Blue light is scattered more than the other colors because it travels at shorter, smaller waves. This is why we see a blue sky most of the time. Get it, students? Now, shadow formation during the day. Shadow change length throughout the day because the angle at which the sun shines on stationary objects change with the Earth's rotation. When we go out in the sun, we notice that the length of our shadow changes at different times of the day. For example, early in the morning when the sun is near the horizon, it casts long shadows. Same is the case in the evenings. However, during the noon time when the sun is just overhead, the shadow cast is shorter. So students, आपकी पोजीशन का डिफरेंस आता है कैसे? जब जहां आपकी लाइट ऑफ सोर्स ऑफ लाइट का जो पोजीशन है वो आपकी शेडो फॉर्मेशन को अफेक्ट करता है। अगर हम सन की बात करें तो मॉर्निंग और इवनिंग में हमारी शेडोज हमें लेंथ या लॉन्ग दिखाई देंगी, लेकिन अगर हम दिन की बात करें, जब नून टाइम जो होता है, सन आपके हेड के जस्ट ऊपर होता है, तब आपको अपनी शेडोज जो है वो छोटी दिखाई देंगी। लुक हियर, हियर सम पिक्चर्स। Shadow in morning, shadow in noon, shadow in evening. Do you know? If there are multiple light sources, there are multiple shadows with overlapping paths darker for a person or object touching the surface. Like a player standing on the cricket ground, multiple images of the player are seen. When the light shines on a shop bubble, some of the rays reflect back from its outer surface. Others travel through the thin shop film and bounce back from its inner surface. The two sorts of reflected rays are slightly out of step because they travel different distances. They interfere with one another and produce colorful swirling patterns on the bubble surface. So student, light की वजह से आपको colorful bubbles दिखाई देते हैं. Now we have properties of shadow. The following are the properties of a shadow. Irrespective of the color of the object, a shadow is always black in color. A shadow only shows the outline of the object and not the details. The size of the shadow depends on the distance between the object and the source of light and the distance between the object and the sun. Distance between the object and the screen. So student, these are the properties of shadow. Now, formation of day and night. The earth revolves around the sun and also rotates on its own axis. Thus, though we do not feel it, the earth is constantly rotating, taking us all along with it. It is this rotation of the earth that causes day and night. During rotation, the side of the earth that faces the sun experiences day, whereas the part away from it experiences night. Thus, when we are on the side of the earth that faces the sun, we have daylight. As the earth continues its spin, we are moved to the side facing away from the sun, thus experiencing night. So students, जो डे और नाइट का फॉर्मेशन है वो अर्थ की वजह से होता है। कैसे? क्योंकि आप सबको पता है अर्थ अपने एक्सिस पे रोटेट करती है। So जब अर्थ का जो पार्ट सन की साइड आता है ड्यूरिंग रोटेशन, तो वो वहां क्या होता है? वहां दिन हो जाता है, और जब वो पार्ट मूव करके दूसरी साइड चला जाता है तो वहां रात हो जाती है। Here you can see the picture for better understanding. Now we have eclipse. An eclipse is a phenomenon when the celestial bodies, the sun, the moon, and the earth lie in a straight line. During such a phenomenon, one of the celestial body is partially or fully hidden by another. The movement of the earth along its axis together with the revolution of the earth around the sun causes eclipse. सो स्टूडेंट एक्लिप्स कब होते हैं? जब आपका सन, मून और अर्थ तीनों स्ट्रेट लाइन में प्रेजेंट होते हैं एंड आपकी कोई एक बॉडी किसी एक बॉडी को फुली या फिर पार्शियली हाइड करती है. फर्स्ट वी हैव सोलर एक्लिप्स. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon comes in between the earth and the sun, thus casting a shadow of the sun on the earth. Therefore, during a solar eclipse, the view of the sun is hidden either partially or totally from the earth. So, student, first हमारे पास है सोलर एक्लिप्स. सोलर एक्लिप्स कब होता है? जब आपका मून जो है वो सन और अर्थ के बीच में आ जाता है और वो क्या करता है? आपके सन को हाइड कर देता है या तो फुली या फिर पार्शियली. फर्स्ट वी हैव टोटल सोलर एक्लिप्स. A total solar eclipse occurs when the entire central portion of the sun is blocked out by the moon. Look here, here is a picture. Look here student, this is a picture of solar eclipse. Here is sun, moon and earth. So that's how moon comes in between sun and earth. Second we have partial solar eclipse. A partial solar eclipse occurs when only a part of the sun's surface is blocked out by the moon. दैट मीन्स पार्शियल कब होगा? जब आपका मून जो है वो कुछ ही पार्ट को सन के जो है हाइड करता है. दैट इज पार्शियल. नाउ वी हैव लूनर एक्लिप्स. अ लूनर एक्लिप्स अकर्स व्हेन द अर्थ कम्स इन बिटवीन द सन एंड द मून सो दैट शैडो ऑफ द अर्थ इज कास्ट ऑन द मून. अ लूनर एक्लिप्स अकर्स ओनली ऑन अ फुल नाइट डे ऑन अ फुल मून नाइट. During a lunar eclipse, the moon is hidden by the earth either partially or fully. सो स्टूडेंट लूनर एक्लिप्स कब होता है? जब आपकी अर्थ जो है सन और मून के बीच में आ जाती है. ठीक है, या तो वो मून को कंप्लीटली हाइड करेगी या फिर पार्शियल. हियर टोटल लूनर एक्लिप्स व्हेन द मून इज हिडन बाय द अर्थ fully or the earth completely blocks the sunlight from reaching the moon, it is called a total lunar eclipse. So student, जब अर्थ जो है वो completely लाइट को जो है ब्लॉक कर देती है सनलाइट को from reaching the moon, that is total lunar eclipse. Now we have partial lunar eclipse. When the moon is hidden by the earth partially, it is called a partial lunar eclipse. Look at the picture, it is a lunar eclipse. Now we have check and mate, as we already read about these things, so you can do it by yourself. What we learn in this chapter, now we will discuss it in a nutshell. Here, light is a source of energy that helps us see the world. It is obtained from different sources. Light can be obtained from either natural or artificial sources. Light always travels in a straight line. This is called the rectilinear propagation of light. We see things when light is striking on any object, reflects back and comes to our eyes. Depending on the amount of light that materials allows to pass through them, they may be classified as transparent, translucent or opaque. When an opaque object blocks the path of light, a shadow is created. Rotation of Earth along its axis causes day and night. An eclipse is a phenomenon caused when three celestial bodies, the Sun, the Moon and the Earth, lies in a straight line. Here we have some keywords. Bioluminescence, the production and emission of light by a living organism. Beam, a group of light rays together. Rectilinear propagation of light, the property by which light travels in a straight line. Transparent, materials that allow light to pass through them completely. Translucent, materials that allow light to pass through them partially. Opaque, materials that do not allow light to pass through them. Celestial body, a natural body outside the Earth's atmosphere. Thank you, student. We will meet again in the next chapter.